Greetings, y'all. The sun is shining, spring has sprung, and I just can't bare root it anymore. Let's plant a peach tree. All right, y'all. I thought I'd go over the top sort of 4 or 5 points you need to know before you start transplanting a bare root tree. The first would be to pick one that's appropriate to your environment. If you have long winters, you'll need something that requires long chill hours. If you live somewhere where we have very short winters, obviously you need something with a very short number of chill hours. I got a Florida Prince variety because it requires so few chill hours, which should be good for what we have here. The next thing you want to do is take the time to soak your bare root tree after you've brought it home. Chances are it's been sitting in a nursery all winter, it's getting dry, it might have a lot of funk on the roots itself. So we want to take the time, soak it in a bucket of water, let it really get nice and rehydrated. The third rule would be to prep your hole in such a way that the bottom soil is nice and loose. That way the taproot can easily shoot down in the first year or two. The lateral roots will more or less take care of themselves, but if that taproot is struggling, then the tree itself will struggle overall. And then finally, we just want to take the time to, when we transplant the tree, to make sure that the root stock itself is nice and vertical. You may have a graft point that comes off at a funny angle and it's tempting to make it vertical, but that will then actually put your root stock into contact with the soil, and you could potentially have some problems with rot and disease. So make sure your root stock is vertical, even if the graft is at an angle. You can prune and train that later. So as long as we've got the right variety that's nice and clean and hydrated and to a nice hole with nice loose soil at the bottom, and that we put it in nice and vertically, we should be having no problems whatsoever. The only thing you have to do after that is make sure it's watered thoroughly for the first 2 weeks, and then it'll be off to the races. So we'll get our bare root tree prepped, we'll get our hole prepped, and we'll get it planted, and we'll take you along with us. What I'm going to do here is just start off by clearing all of this mulch out of the way, creating sort of a big donut shape here, and then we'll dig down through any soil that's beneath it. And I really want to be mindful of the fact of how long this taproot is here on this grafted base of the plant. It's a good maybe foot, maybe a little bit more long. So my hole doesn't necessarily need to be super wide, but what I do want to be mindful of is that I have plenty of room for this taproot here. That's the one thing I don't want to have to struggle. Alrighty, y'all. Here's that hole I was talking about. You can see we've gone ahead and cleared away all of the mulch from the top here, and then just dug a nice deep hole straight down here. And you can see even at the bottom of the hole for another 6-8 inches or even more down, there's still nothing but super good loose soil. It's, you know, not the world's all-time greatest soil, but it does have enough organic matter to sustain the plant while it gets started. I'm a big fan of top dressing, really, more so than putting things down in a hole that you can't get back out again. And you can see now, if we put our plant down in there, our taproot basically just starts to touch on that nice soft dirt we made, which is again about a foot deep of even softer dirt below that. And our lateral roots now can go straight into this sort of soily, mulchy, you know, medium layer right where they meet. And ideally, you can see the crown on our plant here, it's right about here. And we'll be able to push the mulch back to that point and then peel it back as needed to make sure that this is very well exposed and in no way being covered by soil or, you know, risks getting any sort of rot or infection. Alrighty, y'all, as you can see, we've got our tree transplanted, and we took the time to make sure that our rootstock was nice and vertical. Even if our graft portion goes off at an angle, we can train that later. We've got a nice vertical rootstock allowing our taproot to go down nice and deep. And we've also made sure that we haven't crowded the base too much as well. Greetings, y'all. Just wanted to give a little update on the bare root peach tree we put in about a week ago. We got our first real rain of the spring last night, and things are popping out all over. And as you can see, we've already got some spurs starting to come off of this bare root plant. And you can see also where we buried it here, and we've kept the mulch away from the crown and the graft site. The very topmost layer of roots are actually just barely below the surface. You can see they're right there. So we've really taken care to not smother the plant. We've created that sort of bird's nest kind of caldera effect. And sure enough, within 2 weeks, we're already starting to get some new growth coming off of this bare root peach tree. So it won't probably make many fruit this year, but at least it's off to a good start, and we can see that the transplant was successful. It's putting out roots and it's putting out leaves, so it's well on its way. I'll keep y'all posted as it continues to leaf out, and hopefully might even get a few flowers. At least look nice. Like I said, I'm not hoping on too many fruit this year, but if it gets well established and healthy, I'll be happy.